Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of AchromatiCraft. Last time we thought we were going to be able to tackle so much more than we did, and it's going to bleed into this episode too. We're going to finish up this village. I want to make sure we're getting it right, so we're really going to spend the time. We're going to talk about it today. We're going to finish up the majority, the main village, the thing we've been trying to get. Today's the day. So we're going to make that over. We're going to start by jumping in and getting right to some buildings. So let's get a few more buildings in and then we'll work on some landscape. Let's go. And a few hours later, we went from this building to having one of my favorites. This is one I've built so many seasons of playing Minecraft, is a split where there's a little pathway through here, which in this world maybe doesn't make as much sense because we have the cow farm up there. But I've always liked this kind of as a path through. Probably put a little tree here, but the idea is that there's two separate rooms for two separate villagers. So we can kind of decorate those out, and then down here it becomes like a little storage area. Still need to put in some barrels or something. I guess we can't use barrels because they're not gray. So we might be relying more and more on shulker boxes for storage. But that's kind of the idea there. Started with some trees. You can see I'm trying to put up some taller ones, some shorter ones. Even put one back here to start filling in this area. I think we'll probably still put like another 2 or 3. But I'm also thinking maybe I do put another little house in here. Wasn't quite sure, so I started filling in with some trees. But we also got this other house in since the last clip. So we got this. It's a little tight to the barn. Oh, it looks like one of our trapdoors is missing. I'll have to fix that. But it's a little tight to this one, but that's kind of the feeling we've been going with this village. So I think it fits in just fine. And so now that we've got that kind of done, we can start doing some better planning of the trees. So there's portions like here where it's by the river that I don't know how we make this a little more exciting, other than maybe we'll put like some little tiny trees just along here. Don't want to do anything that makes it look too crazy, but maybe just enough to kind of give some interest. There's trees over there that grow on the shore, so maybe we have a few over here. Don't want to put them real tight. Yeah, that's pretty good, because what we're trying to do now is look at sight lines. So the idea here is that there's a tree, there's another tree there, and it kind of bends your eye around. And we'll obviously put in some of the dead coral to help make it look more like grass, so it doesn't look so flat along here. This is where we're probably just going to go through and look for, I'll show you these boxes here in a minute, little sightline areas of where should we put a tree that will help break this up. And some of this could even be bushes, like this might be a little too tight. We could even probably put a building here. But the sightline I really want to work on is if you look up there, you can see all the way through here, which from that angle is pretty cool because you can see up to the trading hall. But from this way, you see a big old swatch of green and brown. And that's what we're trying to not have here in the city, is that when you are in the city, that as you look around, you mostly see gray. So one of the things that I want to bring through here is probably about in here. Let's use my silk touch pick so we can get that back. But I want to bring some kind of a bigger tree up through here. We have some of those weeping willows that we did over there. That might be perfect because this is kind of a big area and it's kind of a big sight line that we want to hide. So let's see what this is going to look like. Yeah, see, now if you can imagine something a little bit bigger, it's going to start cutting out a lot of that green. And with the trees that we planned back there and the one right there, we're really going to kind of start having that break. And I think that's what we're looking for. So now what I'm going to do is probably just go through and say, where can we start sticking trees? We'll make this start feeling a little more cozy, a little more like a village actually would. These two might be too close. Maybe even one kind of here on the corner. But that's how I plan out a lot of my trees, and then I just go through with the dead coral. I guess it's not dead when I put it on, but it goes dead. to make the trees. So let me show you what I got over from my coral farm. Let's put this here so I don't forget it. I was over at my coral farm, and most of my boxes I've been putting just whatever color the block is in that color, but I wanted to make sure I didn't lose my coral because that's harder to get than most of these other ones. So now I've got pink shulker boxes with the different corals out there. So obviously every time I need some of this, I go out there, do, I don't know, AFK for maybe 2 or 3 hours, because this stuff's hard to make. Even with the crafting recipe, it still takes quite a bit of time. So I'm going to go through here, start marking out some of the trees. I'll probably even put some of them in, and then we'll do some of the landscaping. Some of it I'll do on time lapse, some of it I'll do off screen, since building trees is kind of tedious and kind of boring. But let me go do some of that real quick, and then I'll bring you back. And now we have trees. If you look at it, we've added quite a few trees. Added some along there. You can see one poking around the corner. We added a massive one here. I was going to do kind of a weeping willow. When I put it in, it was just maybe a little too big, and I still want to preserve some of the sight lines. Oh, and we actually put a house here. I thought about putting a few more trees, but then it just made this place feel a little too filled with trees. So what we're going to do is actually probably pop this out now that I've got it in. And I was thinking about building a little dock. I think that might be kind of fun, have somewhere to fish. If I ever fish, it's typically just off this wall that we made. And as you can see, there are lots of squids. We have plenty of squid ink at this point, because as I've been working here, every time I'd see them, I'd go out and take care of them. But let's look at the trees real quick. You're going to see a number of places where I need to put in mud and some of the buildings. Oh, and I put this building in a little bit ago and didn't even show it. So this is a new little place. I'm trying to expand over into here where we mapped out a whole bunch of spots, but just haven't built anything yet. So we're going to get there, but this is at least the first one. Still got some tuff I got to go collect so I can finish that off. And you'll see through here is where we really start adding the trees. So we got a tree up here on the hill. We finally put this one in. I think we marked this out in like, I don't know, episode 3 or 4. And we finally got around to putting a tree there. Got some other ones. Put a tree here next to the cows. I'm gonna put a little farm here. I guess while I got the mud, we can stick that in real quick. But I'm going to start adding those kind of details in next. Got to clean up obviously all of this, but we've got some more trees in. Started putting a little bit of bushes. Trees up here. Trees along the back of this hill. And I got this hill done. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, but I ended up just making it all the same as what we have now. It's going to look a lot better once we put some of the dead coral in here to make it look more like there's some grass there. But we got it all the way wrapped around to the side. Now there's still some over there, and if we come up here, you see I still got to finish the stairs off here, so we're not having to jump all the time. And then we still have all back there. But we're at least getting there. The idea with our infestation is that it doesn't really cross water. So a long time ago, off stream, I built kind of this little pond and then rivers that float out both sides. Let me just show that real quick since we haven't really ever seen it on camera. But it's the idea that a river kind of comes down, meets another little lake that I made here, and then some water comes off there. So that'll act kind of as our natural boundary for this city. Now, at some point, if we get really ambitious and want to keep building this village, we may cross that stream and go a little bit more. But for now, that's kind of going to be our boundary on this side. So we've got a lot to do, obviously. I'll probably invite a few friends on, and we'll just have a good time and landscape this. There's a lot to do there, and I need to keep just getting more stuff. But anyways, that's getting the trees in. I may go around, look for places where I can put in some more crop fields. I still need to think of something for here. I was going to do trees, but again, that felt too much like a forest. But maybe that's okay. Maybe I'll actually stick a farm right here with maybe one more tree on the hill. That'd probably work. But I'm going to go ahead and do that. Do it off camera here. and then I'll come back and show you kind of what we've done. Wow, that was a lot more coral placing than I thought. So between these trees, between putting down the different farms, just the random grass, some bushes, you can see we've decorated this place out. But guys, this is exactly the look we were going for. Like, this is looking pretty cool. We're getting a lot of good contrast. What I was worried about is that we wouldn't have enough contrast in this world. But between the whites and the grays, and then these grasses standing out just enough from the ground that you can kind of see them, and it feels like there's some texture that normally we get from the different colors. But here we get a lot of good texture and being able to see kind of those details. So walking around, these just look like nice dead bushes, I guess. And I think it's really coming together. Like, we got it all the way through here. I'm still putting up some walls and some things, but I think for the most part, we got this area finished. And y'all, I didn't think that was going to happen. When we first started taking this on, I thought there was no way we were going to do it in 2 episodes. We originally started out as doing it in 1 episode. But if we look around, we maintained kind of this alleyway that we talked about in last episode that we're going to try and preserve, which I think is great. You can see these trees helped push it in a tiny bit more. We've got that alleyway with the original houses. We've got the main walkway up to our trading hall, and then our sight lines. If you remember when we first started coming down here, you could see so much green back there. Now it still peeks through a little bit, and we're going to move that bamboo. I think that's kind of the biggest, brightest thing back there. But for the most part, your eyes get stopped on all these trees, all the decorations, everything that's kind of around the city. So we're going to keep going. I want to do a little bit more of this around. I'm not sure what we're going to do right in here. And we still got a whole bunch of city here we're going to do here. But guys, that is not going to be part 3. Next episode will not be continuing in this area. I think we've spent enough time over the last, I don't know, what's it been, a week and a half, building all these houses, putting in all this landscaping. We need a break. We're going to go do something a little different. But I want to give you one last view. I think the sun's going to go down. Let me sleep, and then I'll meet you at the top of the scaffolding. And up at the scaffolding, we are here, guys. Can you imagine, or can you believe that we got all of this done in the last 2 episodes? There was a village here before with some markets, some tiny little houses, and we filled it all the way up. We even added some houses to where there weren't houses, trees where there weren't trees. And I think we got this village looking very much infested with complete grayness. So that's pretty awesome. I got some things I got to clean up. You can still see some workbenches, and there are some shulker boxes. So we'll get that cleaned up off camera, but we did it. So let me put up on the screen here real quick what it looked like before. And then here is what it looks like now. Quite a change, quite a grayscale difference. And it's really starting to look like a gray city. We can really see it kind of from every angle. And really the only colors we kind of have in here right now are the lights and the portal. But other than that, we've done pretty awesome at getting grayscale. So I'm actually going to do a flyover of the village so you can get a little bit of that. And then we will call it an episode. So let's get a few flybys here. Seeing what it looks like from above. Oh, this is such a cool feeling. It's so fun. I had this concept to go gray a little while ago, and I think we're pulling it off. I think it's looking pretty good, and we've got it going. So again, we'll do these other ones in a future episode, but for this episode, we did it, guys. We got our village grayified, and that is enough for today. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.